That's a White Sox winner. We're channeling Hawk today.
Yes! Yes! Hell yeah!
Let's talk about it. CHGO White Sox post-game show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. We are coming to you live from Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, being produced today by my pal, Kevin Wells.
What's happening? How are we?
It's rainy and I'm mad. Yeah. Happy Easter, I guess. I thought that this was going to be a White Sox loser. I was putting people in the doghouse. Lenine, you might just survive another day. We might not talk about Andrew Vaughn stinking because he came through with an 8th inning home run. And on this White Sox winner. White Sox win 8-4, and they get their first road win of 2025. Will Venable's first road win of his managerial career. I thought it was interesting that Steve Stone, pretty much near the end of the broadcast, he said, you're seeing the maturation of an MLB manager, that over the past 2 games, Stone lauded Venable's growth. And I thought it was a interestingly managed game today. I thought, we'll talk about it. Sox win 8-4. Let us know what you think in the comments. Axminster says this is a real rivalry brewing. I don't know about that, but hey, we'll see Boston, I think, 7 times every single year now, or at least we'll see them 6 times every year now. So maybe it'll lead to something. You got Liam Hendriks and Garrett Crochet, former Sox. Even I think everyone's guy, Romy Gonzalez, is still on the Red Sox or in the organization. So, maybe there is a rivalry brewing right there. Cam Boozer, the Cam Boozer rivalry. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. And again, we're being presented by Bet365 on this White Sox winner. It was a really bleak outlook. I was writing up about the loss on Friday. Sox lose 10-3. Someone wrote, when you see a 3-run homer in the first inning, you just know that it's over. I think it was White Sox Matt. You see Trevor Story hit a 3-run homer, and you're like, the starter's not going to give us a chance today. The offense definitely isn't. Sox lose 10-3. Story hit 2 home runs. Benny did hit his a bomb in the 4th inning. I did say it's hard to hate the guy on Twitter, even though I am #1 Andrew Benintendi hater out there. So I think it's really easy to look like the best hitter on the team. However, I would be a very, disillusioned hater if I could not look at Andrew Benintendi's second half of last year and his start to 2025. Obviously, he dealt with the injury in spring training and in the regular season just after the opening series, and he's still been a very good hitter. So, there was a chase yesterday on a 3-2 count in the 10th inning that I didn't like. So there's still ups and downs with Andrew Benintendi, but he also made a lovely diving play today in left field. So maybe he'd look really good in Boston, huh? Boston, you guys want to be competitive. You guys need a left fielder?
The return.
Hey, I'm just thinking, he likes playing left field there. He likes pulling the ball to that very low porch. The return could happen. A nice windy day, maybe he breaks Ted Williams' record at 502, and the only way that the Red Sox are going to figure that out is if they trade for Andrew Benintendi. That would be the most interesting storyline, is that if Andrew Benintendi makes himself tradable. But
you need some reality spray, my friend.
Go hose me down. You owe me one, because I got you good on that Cubs one. Yes, I did not understand the power of the reality spray, and I got you directly in the face. Kubla 1972 saying you're the worst. God bless you. Perez left the game with left elbow inflammation. Clevenger is being stretched out in AAA. Clevenger was DFA'd, but the White Sox were able to outright him to AAA. So we'll see if Mike Clevenger does return for the Chicago White Sox as a starter. Wednesday will be Perez's next day. Mike Vassell is in the bullpen along with Jared Schuster, who's called up from Charlotte. I believe one of those guys will likely try to throw 3 innings and then be either tagged with the guy behind him. But I believe that's what's the outlook for Wednesday. We'll have to wait and see. Saturday, 4-3 loss, 5-10 final. It looks bleak because Garrett Crochet was on the mound. But the Sox were able to get him out of Saturday's game on the 6th or by the 6th inning. And then, weirdly enough, when Garrett Crochet leaves the game, the Sox are able to hang 3 runs. You got 3 runs in the 7th. There was a Luis Robert Jr. bomb as well. One directly hit over the Green Monster. Beautiful to see. Sweeper hung low and in, and he destroyed that pitch. Again, hey, Boston, if you need a center fielder, Rafaela, I don't think he can hit that ball that far. I'm just saying. Meidroth, 3 for 5. He also got his first MLB RBI on Saturday. On Friday, he did break his on-base streak, and he didn't start today. He was supposed to be today's leadoff hitter and today's starting shortstop, but he was scratched. But we ended up seeing Meidroth later on in the game. We'll talk about that. Edgar Quero did hit a single off Crochet, and then the day before, he got a double off of Chapman, his first his first true MLB hit. I know he got, I think, an MLB hit when he was with Chicago on day 1. No, I'm sorry. His first hit was on Friday. It was a single, and then he had the single off Crochet on Saturday, and then the double off Chapman on Saturday, where he completely ignored the first base coach's sign to not stay at first base, and he made a beautiful slide to get in there for a double. So it was a great weekend from Quero, and he continued it on Sunday. There was a little bit of an issue beforehand. My guy James Fox over at Future Sox did say, why was Quero not starting today? Why was Matt Tice the catcher today? I thought, the guy went from Charlotte to Chicago on Thursday, then from Chicago to Boston on Friday, and then on Monday they're going from Boston to Minnesota. No days off, I think, coming up for the White Sox. They have continuous road games. I thought it was just going to be an off day for Quero, but here he comes in the 7th inning, delivering the biggest hit for the White Sox of the year so far, and ends up DHing. So, it was going to be an off day for Quero, but he ignored that. He came through clutch. We'll get to it later on. But it does seem like these two, Chase Meidroth and Edgar Quero, have TW. Kevin, I know you've been itching to play the clip. So let's first just remind ourselves, and this is via MLB Network, and God, I hope they allow us to play this, but this is what Hawk Harrelson defines as TW.
It's glorious.
Some of those categories, you got your OBPS and all that and the VORPs. When they put in TW, and then interface those numbers with TW under that category, then you might have something cooking.
What
TW is?
Yeah, what is that?
That's the will to win.
Yeah,
TW and Harold knows exactly what I'm saying. Let me tell you something. With Harold's a good example. The guy standing right next to you. People 40 or 50 years from now look at Harold Reynolds' numbers, they say, okay, he was a pretty good player. Well, Harold was not a pretty good player. He was an outstanding player because he did things that you can't put numbers on. Harold was the kind of guy, he would stand there and turn a double play when he knew he was going to take a hit from guys like myself or Kirk Gibson, whoever, going to knock him into the left field. He'd get it over, turn it over, and then take the hit. He'd also steal a base in late innings of a ball game when everybody in the ballpark knew he was going to steal. He'd also make that diving stop of a ground ball going to his left to keep a man going from first to third. Those are things that are not put in numbers in Moneyball.
Are not things put into Moneyball because most of those things aren't things. OPBS, that isn't a baseball stat. Close to a baseball stat. He's a baseball guy, doesn't know the baseball stat. And I like, again, how he's making up stats, but he accidentally creates a basketball stat that exists. VORP is a stat in basketball. Anyways, the whole point of this is that Edgar Quero and Chase Meidroth both showed TW today. Meidroth wasn't supposed to play, scratched with thumb inflammation. It seemed like it was affecting him when he was hitting. He did not have an at-bat today, but in the 8th inning, a defensive replacement at shortstop, and he ended up catching a line drive off of Hamilton's bat right at him. Has obviously stayed in the game in the 9th inning to be the defensive replacement and played well. Did not have to bat today, but again, that TW to play through an injury, even Stone mentioning, guys are going to love that. If you were scratched from a game but still said, I am good to go if anything happens, something happens where you need to go into the game, you're in there, you're playing defense at the most important position, you have to be becoming a beloved character in that locker room. And I think Benintendi already spoke to Chase's maturity at 23 years old. And I think that's just going to get him completely over in that locker room. The fact that he was supposed to have the day off and he came in and delivered. And speaking of guys having the day off, speaking of guys who weren't supposed to start, Edgar Quero, who started a catcher on Thursday, started a catcher on Friday, started a catcher on Saturday, currently, before today's game, had a 333 average, a 400 on-base percentage, and a 556 slugging in 3 games. He came in the 7th inning for your leadoff hitter and cleanup hitter, DH Nick Maton. Could we end that, please? Please? Can we figure out a better DH option than Nick Maton? They put in Edgar Quero. Maybe that's the option when Matt Tice is catching. Quero comes in for Maton, 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. This is after a Len Sosa single. Palacios was hit by a pitch. Vargas tried to bunt and move them over. Red Sox pitcher did a favor. Zach Kelly hit him on the wrist. Bases loaded. Shout out to Vargas, too. Taking one right here on the wrist. I thought he broke his wrist.
That hurts so bad.
I think he thought he broke his wrist. Hurt so bad, he stays in the game.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. And Matt Tice later does the same exact thing. I don't know if he got hit on the wrist. I think he got hit more on the hand, but he got hit by a pitch, stayed in the game.
The only worst place to get hit is the elbow. Then right there on the bone of the wrist.
Literally. Or maybe forehead.
Well, yeah, you know what? Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, there you go. But
head doesn't count.
Yeah, never. Okay. But yeah, anyway, so you get the Vargas hit by pitch. He stays in the game. Steve Stone was roasting his bunt attempt, but that doesn't matter. Vargas gets on base, and that's all that matters. Baldwin comes in. He pinch hits for Jacob Amaya, everyone's favorite shortstop. It's a beautiful sack bunt as well. Pushes it down the first baseline. It's an easy score. Makes it a 4-3 ball game for Boston, but cuts it to a 1-run deficit rather than a 2-run deficit. Nice push bunt by Baldwin. Quero comes in for Maton. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Quero comes up. A beautiful single right back up the middle. He then was also thrown out later in the inning when Benintendi was up at second base. He probably shouldn't have gone. The ball got past Blake Sabol, and the White Sox were running all day on Blake Sabol. He was nearly safe. I think they wanted to challenge it as well. He tried to avoid the tag by kind of swinging his back foot around the base. He looked close, but I don't think he stayed on the base. It was a nice attempt. I don't think he should have ran, but still, TW, trying, as Hawk said, trying to steal that base, trying to get 90 feet. It was aggressive. It was aggressive in Saturday's game and paid off. It didn't pay off in today's game, but I don't think Will Venable is looking at him and saying, don't do that again. He thought he had an opportunity to advance. They've been running on Blake Sabol. Everyone else was running on Blake Sabol. I think it was a really good job by Quero to try to put himself in scoring position for Benintendi. So just great job from Quero, cold off the bench, coming up with that huge single to give the Sox the 5-4 lead into the 7th, and then still even trying to steal second base, even though it wasn't successful. It was bold. Maybe shouldn't have gone, but still ended up going and tried to make a nice slide. You got to, again, the TW, the effort there was great from Quero. In the bottom of the 8th, you get Benintendi, top 10 Sports Center play, diving out, very similar to his Red Sox catch, I believe, in 2018 against the Astros, against Bregman, diving out in left field. It was a very great play. I don't know if he has issues going back or to his, what would that be, right? Like, I don't know if he has issues playing balls in foul territory or going back. And I don't know if playing in Fenway, where there's such a shortened foul territory and you have that wall behind you where, you're really just trying to play anything, carry him off the wall. Maybe that gives him a little bit more confidence because he does look like a better fielder when he's playing in Fenway.
Early on in the game, too, he made a really nice catch all the way up against the back of the wall there. I mean, that's a really hard play to make because you are quite literally backing up into a wall where the ball's about the height of the ball coming down. And he didn't play it. He could have played it off the wall, but he literally put his back against the wall and made a really nice catch.
Right. And Sox were able to get through the bottom of the 7th. Christian Campbell gave us a little bit of heart palpitations. He had 2 balls, one in kind of the Carlton Fisk 1976 World Series wave territory. It was just a little bit too left. He couldn't wave that one over. And then again, he hits another one to Benintendi. It was hit like insanely hard, but with so much lift that it just did not carry out and died like right on the warning track. But still, a ball hit well, but not hard enough. Going into the top of the 8th, Sox lead 5-4. Is it a break right now? Okay, my bad. All right, well, then we'll break. I thought we were at 14. God, Kevin, we're at 14. Come on.
We are at 15, baby.
Ooh, all right. We'll talk about Liam Hendriks' return in just a second. I want to let you know about our friends over at Empire. You can call them over at 588-2300 Empire today. Empire is our friends. They are the experts over in flooring. Check them out over at Empire today. Again, you can call them or you can go over to their website, empiretoday.com/CHGO. You can get $350 off on a discount using the promo code CHGO. You can also schedule a free in-home estimate today. They are the experts in flooring. If you go to a big box store and try to do it yourself, you try to ask for help, you're likely talking to somebody like my cousin who works at a big box store. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just graduated college. Does he want to work at a big box store? No, but one day he's in flooring, one day he's in paint, one day he's doing the self-checkout. He doesn't want to be there. You don't want to be there. That's going to turn out to your floors turning out poorly. You're probably going to hire your cousin. You're probably going to hire your brother or somebody you know, right? And then it's just not going to go well.
Glad you chose to be here instead of Easter Sunday with your cousin. Jeez.
Exactly. Call the experts over at Empire. They will help you with the best selection of flooring. They curate their selection so there's less fuss. You have less selections to choose from. You're just choosing from the best of the best. They'll help you with the installation. They will help you with every single process with the flooring situation in your home. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 off discount when using promo code CHGO. You heard that right. A $350 off discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Ray CDJR. If you are in the market for a new car, check out our friends over at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram during the Jeep Celebration event. Now is your time to score a great deal on your next vehicle. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. And right now, get up to $12,000 off MSRP on new select 2024 Jeep Wrangler models with a dealer discount, or lease the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Sport 4xE for only $129 a month. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000 with a friendly team of brand experts. The team at Ray CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. Plus, since they prioritize affordability, you know you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. You can back that up with the Ray's Price Promise. The price you're hearing now, the price you see online will be the price you see in store. It's that simple. Go check them out on Route 12. The team at Ray CDJR is the only team we recommend. Visit them on Route 12 or at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963, and don't miss out on the Jeep Celebration event going on all month long.
Quick thing here.
Yeah.
Reds and Orioles right now. Reds are up 24-2 on the Orioles. It is in the eighth inning, I believe.
What, 31 was the Rangers, and that was against the Orioles, too.
It was also against the Orioles.
Is it in Camden?
That I don't know,
okay.
But I just saw John Heyman tweet about it. 24 runs from the Reds today.
I mean, what did the Yankees do against the Brewers earlier this year in that torpedo game? Didn't they have like 8 homers?
18 or 19 runs.
Yeah. Let me know when they hit 30, Kevin.
All right. I'll keep an eye on it.
Anyways, we're talking about the White Sox winner here. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. This is presented to you by Bet365. In the top of the 8th inning, Liam Hendriks is back after battling cancer and trying to get his way back into the major leagues in 2023. He dealt with inflammation in his elbow that led to Tommy John surgery. So even though he was able to miraculously return in 2023 still ended with a sad note for Liam Hendriks because he ended up facing Tommy John. He has battled his way back to pitch again. He has finally returned since 2023. He is now pitching for the Red Sox, signed a contract, I believe, after he left in 2023 with the White Sox, recovering from Tommy John. I think he signed a $3 or $30 million deal. Anyways, great to see him back in 2023. And I feel like the White Sox felt the same way because Luis Robert Jr., even though it was a 2-strike count, he laces a single into left field. Then Andrew Vaughn, the next batter up. Sox worked him. Robert worked him a little bit. Vaughn worked him a little bit. And Hendriks throws an absolute meatball. 4-seam fastball down and in to Andrew Vaughn, and I know he's been frustrating to watch so far. We have some things that hopefully will be able to turn your opinion around on Andrew Vaughn, just because I do feel like he's going to be here for a while. He hits an absolute bomb to the Green Monster, like deep left center, still hits it over the Green Monster. It was 110 miles per hour off the bat. His hardest ball hit so far this year. I think previously it was 108, so he still hits it 2 miles per hour than his previous high. So great to see from Andrew Vaughn. He makes it 7-4. Great job by Andrew Vaughn. Then the weird thing happens. Palacio hits an infield single. Nothing really that impressive. Kind of goes by Hendriks. I think Bregman thought Hendriks was going to get it. Bregman didn't pick it up. Palacios is safe at first. Then Palacios tries to get a lead to second and looks like he's going to steal, but then gets picked off going back to first base. Sable throws him off, and they get him on the behind tag, and he's out. Going into the bottom of the eighth, after we saw Quero pinch hit, after we saw Baldwin pitch hit, Meidroth comes in at shortstop, and then that takes Palacios out, and Baldwin goes to right field. And you're thinking, oh, cool. Then, that's just going to be the way that this game's going to end, because I just forgot Michael A. Taylor, I guess, existed. And then in the ninth inning, Michael A. Taylor comes in, and he plays right field. I don't know if that had to do with Baldwin being up second in the eighth. I think it's an interesting move from, Will Venable to get 2 innings and 2 at-bats out of Brooks Baldwin and still have him play right field. I mean, that speaks to Brooks Baldwin's versatility, but also why not go to Michael A. Taylor right away if he is the best defensive option in right field? I'm not really blaming it, but it does seem like truly just big brain thinking from Will Venable. If you're talking about the maturation of an MLB manager from Steve Stone, the fact that Will Venable knows, like, all right, hey, we can get 2 plate appearances from Brooks Baldwin. We may have to, get through 2 innings of Brooks Baldwin in right field, but once we go into the ninth inning to protect that lead, and it ends up being an 8-4 lead as the Sox add 1 more in the ninth inning, Brooks Baldwin is, your right fielder for 2 innings, but then Tyler, cleans up in the bottom of the ninth. I thought it was interesting from Will Venable. A pretty well-managed game all around from Will Venable. The fact that he put Quero into that spot shows the trust that they have in Edgar Quero, shows how good Edgar Quero is and how bad this roster is. I mean, Edgar Quero and Chase Meidroth might be the second and third best hitters. Oh, that might be a little bit too much. They might already be like the 5th and 6th best hitters in the White Sox already.
4th and 5th, probably. It's not that.
Benny right now, with his second half and current production, he is the best hitter on the White Sox.
Sure.
I think Robert, we'll talk about him in a second, because Bruce Levine said something very interesting on Inside the Clubhouse yesterday regarding Venable. If you're talking about the maturation of an MLB manager, Bruce Levine pretty much said that Will Venable benched Luis Robert Jr. On Friday. Luis, I believe, sat in the 8th game, and then he sat on Friday night. You could just assume that since they're going from Chicago to Boston, now is the time to give them an off day, as they're now just about to play, I think, if you're thinking on Friday, 8 straight road games. Maybe now is the time to give him an off day. I guess. Bruce said, I think he was sat on Friday because he looked indifferent on Thursday. So Bruce Levine says, I think that Will Venable is maybe showing some stones that Pedro Grifol, because the whole entire segment was talking about Ozzie Guillen blasting Pedro Grifol, that, the 121 losses was more on Pedro Grifol than painted out to be.
Would love some clarification on that from the beat reporters if they ask him a follow-up on that, because that is interesting. Because you're right, Grifol never went that far with Luis Robert.
Well, it's not true, because he did. There was the time in April where Luis Robert Jr. didn't run out of ball. I believe it was in 2023, where he didn't run out of ball, and then was great from May to the rest of 2023. There was a time where Pedro Grifol did bench.
They sat
Luis
him the
Robert
next day for that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They pulled him. He didn't do it.
Oh,
they pulled him from the game,
I
and then he didn't
injury.
play that game, and then he came back in the next game. They sat him they pulled him after the ground out. And then I think he either started in the next game or had to sit that next game and then came in.
I remember the exact play. I just assumed they pulled him because they thought he was hurt.
Yeah,
but
no.
You're right. No, that's true. Never mind then.
Because then Pedro tried to lay down the law. How'd that work? I don't know. I think Venable is respected. I don't think Venable is pulling Luis Robert Jr. I've seen his stats now, because I was just wondering, he isn't hitting the ball well. He isn't destroying the ball. He isn't having the exact start that we wanted, but you're still hearing that Bob Nightingale is reporting that the Dodgers are still interested in Luis Robert Jr. Robert right now has a 13.9% walk rate, which his previous career high was 8.8% in 2020, and that's only 227 at-bats. We'll see how this develops, but his walk rate's at 13.9%. His K rate's at 26.6%. That would be the lowest since 2022 when it was at 19.2%. His BABIP's at 1.86. It's batting average on balls in play. With how hard he usually hits the ball, his balls should get down further or more often than they currently are. I mean, a typical BABIP is around, I think, 300. And when you hit the ball harder, that should have an increased BABIP. So you could predict that Luis Robert Jr. Is going to turn around his 154 batting average. I think it's definitely going to be above 200 at some point this year. And then you pair that again, 11 walks and 21 strikeouts. He hasn't had, I mean, he had 35. No, sorry. He didn't have 35 walks. I'm looking at RBS. He had 28 walks last year. He already has 11. That's pretty good damage.
Luis Robert on the.
I mean, by the end of May, he might already surpass his walk rate of 2024. He had 18? Is it 18 walks right here? Wait, yeah, 7. He had 17 walks in 2022, and that's in 380 at bats. He's at 62 at bats right now. He's got 11 walks. I mean, that's
so
decent.
That's so much.
I mean, that's what I was hoping for, was that he was going to be able to cut down his whiff rate. It didn't look like that was happening in the start of the season. It looked like it was happening in spring training, but it seems like it's turned around so far. So
more than marginal improvement.
I don't know why you need to bench the guy. And then he ends up stealing a base as well in the, top of the 8th. Didn't matter because then Vaughn hits one over the effing green monster. So you could just walk home. But still, like when he is on first base, you see him being aggressive. He's tried to steal 9 times this year. He's gone 7 for 2 or 7 for 9. Like he is, I think, going to be a lot better in May, June, July, August. We'll see if he does get traded or not. I think it's likely that he does get dealt. I think you asked, or Cody asked, if he's going to be dealt to the Dodgers. I'm not buying any of the current talk. If a deal is being talked about, like James Outman plus a prospect, that prospect, A, must have sucked, and B, the White Sox weren't interested because that deal got out. If the Dodgers were truly interested in Luis Robert Jr., a deal would be done. They wouldn't be talking about it to Bob Nightingale. I think you're going to have to wait at least until June or July for his numbers to right ship. But if you are bailing out on Luis Robert Jr., I do think that there's a lot to see him flip around. What's up?
I'm just looking at the BABIP numbers, and you were correct. Yeah, the average BABIP in baseball is right around that 280 to 300 mark. I was curious.
Just scroll up.
Who do you
scroll?
Want to see?
No, like scroll up, and then go from player stats right there and go to league stats and see what the actual league BABIP is. Because it's around 283.
Yeah,
and Roberts is 100 lower than that. I mean, you should be able to at least see his batting average get to 200.
Dip up a little.
And with his on base percentage, I mean, right now his on base percentage is about 120 points higher. So Luis Robert Jr. with a 200 average and a 320 on base percentage, I know that doesn't sound great, but with his slugging, he can make that look decent. And I think, I mean, he's been around a 220 average before. Like, I think it's going to look a lot better for Luis Robert Jr. And as Shy Sox Anthony 27 says, what a win today, fellas. We're very excited. Do we have, 2 minutes you got?
We got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Pull up Alden's comment there. Palacios needs to go. This was a great win. I did write Doghouse down. And Len Sosa can go. Okay, Len Sosa's the first name here. He had a terrible K in the 10th inning last year. The ball was in the left-handed batter's box, and he swung at it. I'm not seeing it, all right? We saw the Venezuelan Winter League stats. They were fantastic. Nothing like his first half of Major League Baseball so far. He had a 3-pitch K today as well to start off the game, and then he had an error at second. I think it was in the second inning, but I'm kind of just sick of seeing him play second base. I'm kind of just sick of seeing Len Sosa. I wrote down Andrew Vaughn, but then he homered, so I guess we're cool. We'll talk a little bit more about Andrew Vaughn and Tim Elco, everyone's favorite White Sox, in a second.
This chat loves Tim Elco, by the way.
Everyone loves Tim Elco.
Bring him up.
I mean, literally the whole state of Mississippi has Tim Elco tattoos. Josh Palacios, he's got to be next. You remember that show Next on MTV?
Oh, yeah.
Where they would date somebody and they would have 5 people on a bus. and then the person would walk out of the bus. I'm really at the point where we're a minute into the date with Josh Palacios, and I'm saying next. This has been terrible. I don't know what he brings. He had an infield ground out, that he's rewarded for it being a single. And then what does he do? He gets picked off at first base. I don't know what he does. I'm not interested in what he does. I don't know who they'd call up. Call up anyone. I feel like anyone. Bring back Greg Jones.
Is that a whole page of notes on him? On Josh Palacios?
No, this is people in the doghouse.
Oh.
This is people in the doghouse. That's Len Sosa, Andrew Vaughn, and then Josh Palacios. I wrote Clevenger ? I don't even think he's gonna. I mean, I know they're gonna stretch him out to a starter, but I think it's gonna be like Brad Keller's starting from last year, and he's now a decent Cub, Brad Keller. But
he's in a circle of trust.
I think it's gonna probably be like 2 games and 14 innings pitched for Clevenger before they DFA him again. All right, we're gonna take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside. What day is it, Kevin? What's the month and the date?
April 20th.
Interesting.
April is the 4th month of the year, so it is 4/20.
Interesting. That's just very interesting. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. It's a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and shop all kinds of different cannabis, and you can check out their expert selection and their curated selection over at sunnyside.shop. If you do celebrate 4/20, if you do celebrate the April 20th day, it's just a celebrate. It's just a Sunday. Maybe you're celebrating Easter. This is one of the best deals out there. Your first 3 times going to Sunnyside, you get 50% off your first 3 orders. Use code HICHGO over at sunnyside.shop. I have really been enjoying some beverages. I think that it's probably the best way to take cannabis. That's just my thought. And there's a lot of different beverages you can explore over at sunnyside.shop. I would just go check them out. See what they have. They have a ton of different options. I believe they have like 25 brands of edibles. They have you completely covered on your cannabis journey. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Game Time. It's the best app for Chicago White Sox fans. The time to buy tickets, if you're Chicago White Sox fans, is not right now. The best time to buy is at 6:38 on a 6:40 game. You're walking up, you're using Game Time for their last-minute deals. Because with our beloved White Sox, not everyone's hip to Chase Meidroth. Not everyone's hip to Edgar Quero. I was able to go to Edgar Quero's Major League debut for $3. I think with tax, it was $8. I'm fine with that. What a lovely deal over at Game Time. I was even asked just Saturday at a family party, who's your Twitter profile? And people are just not hip to Chase Meidroth's beautiful face, his beautiful mug. People are not hip to what Chase Meidroth is going to do to Chicago. He's going to run this town in just a mere 2 years. And you can be on the ground floor. You can use Game Time to get those great last-minute deals for Chicago White Sox games. So I'm just saying, if you don't know, now you know. Use Game Time to go check out Edgar Quero, Chase Meidroth, because this is now the time to do it, because I don't think White Sox games can get cheaper. You could probably get tickets for a single $1.
This is a total truth. I have not spent more than $10 on a White Sox game in the last 2 seasons. 3 seasons.
Good job, Kevin.
And I use Game Time every time. I'm not making that up. And the weekday games are great. Take the red line from work, and I go and I watch a baseball game for like $5.
Because there's no better price in Chicago. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. All right, let's get into some Andrew Vaughn and some Tim Elco talk. Let's start with Andrew Vaughn, mainly because he went deep. Let's flash this graphic from Eli Ben Porat. He is, I believe, French-Canadian, and I've never seen this last name before. So I hope I'm doing Eli's name all right. But these are basically StatCast metrics that Eli have put into a very nice graphic. What you should take away is likely that main top bar. Andrew Vaughn's 90th percent exit velocity is like 1 mile per hour above major league average. That's good to see. Again, he's able to create a little bit higher than above average damage. One thing with the average exit velocity, again, it's a little bit above average, but you would like to see his average exit velocity be more powerful, and you would like to see him take advantage as a first baseman to really drive baseballs. The max EV2 has now changed. It's 110, so hey, I don't think that you should worry about it being 1.5 miles per hour worse than the MLB average, because he finally cracked through that today with his max EV. His average launch angle is a little bit better than major league average. It's about 2 degrees higher, which is fine, but also, again, with his average exit velocity, he's hitting the ball fairly weak and a little bit higher. That just means pop outs. His hard hit launch angle, which is most important, is 4 degrees lower than MLB average, which means more ground balls, which is, Eloy Jimenez's problem forever. White Sox really haven't been able to fix that. But Eli Ben, I was able to reach out, and he thankfully responded to me, and I felt grateful. I don't think I have the write-up anymore, but basically what Eli said was that Vaughn should pretty much abandon the idea of being contact-oriented. He said, I'm not a fan of first base types with average-ish raw power that make poor contact in the air. He's also down year over year. Hopefully the 110 homer today helps. He does a ton of contact, but I really think he would benefit from being a more damage-oriented than contact-oriented. We've said this before. Again, like Spencer Torkelson, if he's able to get into that pull side power, maybe he'll be able to do that damage. Victor Von Doom says he just hit a home run today. What was it? A pull side homer. So let's see more of that, Andrew Vaughn. Eli Ben Porat finishes up by saying he has potential, and I think if the Sox give up on him, he ends up on a team that can help him get there. It's not easy to be a plus contact guy with average raw power. His 2024 card was very promising, so some team will give him a chance if he doesn't figure it out with the Sox. I don't think the Sox should abandon ship on Andrew Vaughn. I do think they should abandon ship on guys like Nick Maton and Josh Palacios. I understand that they're left-handed hitters, but they're just so below league average. Eli also did a write-up on Tim Elco, so let's flash Tim Elco's card here, and then let's talk about Eli. And if you do want to go support Eli's work, he does have writings over at Baseball America, and you can follow him over at Eli, ELIBENPORAT. What he wrote about Tim Elco today was Tim Elco's air exit velocity leads all AAA batters, just ahead of Roman Anthony. But the big thing that you have to focus in there is the 90% exit velocity, 109.1. When the dude makes contact, he destroys balls. He just hit his 4th home run in AAA. Yesterday, it was a bomb opposite field, down the right field line. The biggest thing that sticks out with Elco, hopefully he would be able to bring power. He has an extremely high K rate, and you could see there on the average launch angle and the hard hit launch angle, he is negative 15.6 degrees below league average at a negative 2.5 average launch angle, and his hard hit launch angle is 7.5. That's 2 degrees lower than Andrew Vaughn's, and I talked about Vaughn driving balls into the ground. That's also Elco's problem. Yes, he's able to drive the ball very, very far. He's able to hit the ball 116 miles per hour at times. But this is a guy that is very similar to, like, not even Adam Dunn, but like, who's the guy from the Brewers that went overseas? Eric Thames.
Eric Thames, yeah.
That is, I think Tim Elco is like Diane Viciato in a way. Like, Tim Elco has likely a 3 to 4 year run that Patrick Wisdom has coming up in overseas. Patrick Wisdom has 10 home runs in 9 games overseas. Tim Elco probably will have that career. I don't think he's going to cut it as a major league hitter. I'm fine if the White Sox want to give him a shot, because I think he's better than Josh Palacios. I don't think Josh Palacios can hit a ball this hard, and he's not even that good of an outfielder. You have Michael A. Taylor as your actual outfielder or backup outfielder. So I'm for Elco being called up. I don't think you should have your hopes up about Tim Elco. I think Vaughn is a better shot in the long run. But when I'm seeing Nick Maton being the leadoff DH, it's like, yeah, let's call Tim Elco up. Because he's 26 years old. He's not getting any younger. Like, he is one of the best 26 players the Sox have, or at least one of the best 13 batters the Sox have. There is no reason why he shouldn't be on the roster. I understand you already have a first baseman that's right-handed, but you don't have a DH. that isn't a position for all 30 teams. Let's try that out. I'm just for something else. We do have a show tomorrow. We got about 5 minutes left. If you have any thoughts, let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel as well. I think Robert's going to be fine. Again, Bruce Levine thinks that he was possibly benched on Friday. I don't believe that's the case. The guy's been hustling when he's playing defense. He has been hustling on the base paths. He might have had a bad game on Thursday, but it was also cold. The wind was blowing in. Sox took a lead right away, down right away. Like, I don't think he has the best attitude when they're losing. I also don't think you can fault somebody who signed a long contract and has faced, they have 16 losses on the year? What's 121 plus 16? Doesn't matter. 135 losses over the past 2 years. I think Luis Robert Jr. is just sick of losing. I don't think that's terrible. But hey, they get a win today. They finally get their first road win. Maybe something's turning around, and he contributed yesterday. He contributed today. So I think things are going to be all right for Luis Robert Jr. Let's get into some minor league talk. We have seen the debut of Chase Meidroth. We have seen the debut of now Edgar Quero. Tim Elco, I believe, would be next. I know he's not actually like a top 30 prospect for the White Sox, or at least, one of the guys that will be the future of the squad. But I do think that he's at least interesting. But I think he's probably the next guy to make that call up. Colson has seemingly turned a corner. Don't get your hopes up, but hopefully he has turned a corner. He hit his third home run today. He has a 6-game hit streak, and in the last 6 games, he has 3 multi-hit games. Bez from On Tap Sports mentioned that Steve Stone said, when you think guys are having a mental issue, it's mostly that they're playing hurt. And we knew Colson Montgomery was playing hurt during spring training. He played those 3 games in February, then missed 9 days, and then was sent down to AAA, and he really didn't have the best start to AAA. Ryan Fuller was down in Florida whenever they had a series in Florida and worked with Colson Montgomery, and seemingly since working with Ryan Fuller, Colson's been able to turn things around. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if he just wasn't sharpened enough because he didn't play enough in spring training, but it does seem like Colson, hopefully, fingers crossed, according to Fangraphs, the 9th best prospect in the White Sox farm system, Colson Montgomery, is turning a corner. Then also, the biggest thing, Braden Montgomery. I know it, you know it, Chris Getz knows it. I said that the Fireflies series should be the last for Braden Montgomery. Braden Montgomery, yesterday, 417-foot home run, his first left-handed home run. There is no reason why he shouldn't be in Winston-Salem for Monday. I think they have most minor league teams are off on Mondays. He should be playing in Tuesday's game for Winston-Salem. There is no reason he should be in single A. He is dominating Kannapolis, something George Wilco cannot do, something Caleb Bonham is doing at like 19 years old. Braden Montgomery also dominating. There's no reason for Braden Montgomery to be in Kannapolis any longer. So I am very, very excited. You should be very, very excited about Braden Montgomery. He has been phenomenal. Now, the Eric Fetty, Michael Kopech, Tommy Pham trade has not been White Sox fans' favorites. There really wasn't a return back. Miguel Vargas is getting blasted by Steve Stone on not being able to bunt, even though Will Venable is asking him to bunt. The one thing that is seemingly coming back for the White Sox is Jerel Perez. Jerel Perez hit home run number 3 of the week yesterday, his 4th of the year. He gave the Dash a 7-0 lead. I know all of this because of Future Sox, so make sure that you are following them over on X if you haven't already. You get daily highlights pretty much from daily White Sox guy, Ian Estrich. But Jerel Perez has been fantastic. Pretty much a 2-year difference between him and the rest of Winston-Salem. In 59 plate appearances, 265 batting average, 373 on base percentage, a 612 slugging percentage. Great to see for the Chicago White Sox. And the main thing that you have seen from him is defensive flexibility. I thought he was mainly a third baseman, but he's played 9 games at second base, and he's played 3 games at shortstop. So we'll see if he does have middle infield potential. Middle infielder with pop, who wouldn't be excited? You got Chase Meidroth, who'll get on base 40% of the time, and then you got Jerel Perez driving him in at the 2-hole, and then what? Third hole is Tim Elco, because he's now hitting 40 home runs every single year. Edgar Quero or Kyle Teel is batting 4th. Whoever's not batting 4th, batting 5th is the DH. Braden Montgomery's then batting 6th as a right fielder. I'm just dreaming already of the White Sox future lineup, and you should be too. I think that there's a lot of promise. Burke did pitch today. Final thoughts on today's game. Burke pitched all right. I mean, obviously the White Sox got the win, so it's not anything that you would want to laud him for, but it was a second best start. He dealt with the really difficult first inning. Sosa had that botch play on Devers' single. Well, it was an error by Sosa that turned into a single, that turned into a double. And then another error by Vargas where he makes a poor throw on Bregman's infield single that pulls Vaughn off. You wonder if a taller, larger first baseman actually makes the play and is able to stretch on Vargas' bad throw, but still, bad throw by Vargas. Vaughn isn't able to stretch enough. 2 guys on. Abreu hits a 3-run homer. After that, Burke was able to set in. He had a 28% called strike plus whiff percentage. MLB average is around 30%. So he had pretty much an average start, and you really can't blame him for that first inning because his defense was terrible behind him. And I think he had, 14 whiffs and 12 called strikes. So he was able to get swings and misses today. I was happy with Burke's performance, mainly because he was able to wear it. He was able to get through those innings for the White Sox and their bullpen. And finally, they won. You got to give him the opportunity to win. He's stuck in the game. At the end of the day, that's his second best start. They won the game. He didn't have a great April, but the whole point that the White Sox have in 2025 is patience. You can take all the damn time in the world. If Sean Burke looks bad for 3 starts, oh well. What does it matter? You want to send him down to Charlotte and just face worse competition? Iron sharpens iron. Let him face the Red Sox. Let him get knocked around. Who are you going to call up? Clevenger? There is no one in Charlotte. They have to figure out who's going to be replacing Perez. And I think it's just Schuster who just got called up from Charlotte. And that's going to be your fix. They don't really have the horses to replace Sean Burke. You're kind of stuck with Sean Burke. You're kind of stuck with Shane Smith. You're kind of stuck with Jonathan Cannon. You're kind of stuck with Davis Martin. Hopefully they're good. But also, just kind of have some patience. And if they're good enough, maybe you get the White Sox offense to wake up and give you a win. So, you should be excited that the White Sox were able to get a win today. Another thing on Shane Smith. Bez mentioned that he's been bad when he gets to the 3rd time through the order. We have seen that really once Shane Smith gets to the 5th and 6th inning, he does wear out and doesn't really have that gas tank. Maybe they do start thinking Mike Vassell. Maybe they do start thinking Jared Schuster on the back end of a Shane Smith start. Let him go 4, and he's the starter, goes 2 times through an order, and at least can give you, a good 4 rather than a shaky 6. So we'll see what happens with Shane Smith, but we'll have to watch that develop. I will see you tomorrow. The Sox game, inexplicitly, whatever that word is, starts at 10:10. There's a marathon. It's Patriots Day in Boston, and they're throwing a party, and they're playing baseball at 10 a.m. Why? I guess it's 11 a.m. Eastern time, but 10 a.m. Central. I'll be here after the game. Elijah Evans will be joining me after the game as well to talk about the White Sox and Red Sox series and likely the performance from Chase Meidroth and Edgar Quero. Thank you to Kevin Wells. Thank you for watching. I've been Sean Anderson. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Sox win 8-4. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.